Scorpio, this is Joe, and I just did your June 2020 tarot reading, and it's very interesting. Really, I get a lot about a relationship that has gone off track, but there's this desire and passion to steer it back, to return to where it came from, the good place. And in this, it shows the Nine of Cups as being where you came from, and somewhere along the line things were railroaded and have gone off the tracks. So, but it says that you are returning to the Nine of Cups. You get your wish and you go back to where you came from. My focus is a little off there, sorry. So with that said, we're going to get into it, and I already recorded it, so it's going to roll here in a second. Leave me a thumbs up if it resonates and fits with you. If you want to hear more from me, make sure you subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know how it's going, and I'll talk to you later. Alright, let's go. Okay, Scorpio, this is June 2020 general tarot card reading. Please keep in mind this is an intuitive tarot reading, and it's not going to be for everybody. Check your sign placements. This is Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. And check back if it doesn't fit with you, or check out some of the other amazing people here on YouTube. But we're just going to do a general spread and see where things go and talk about the month of June. So, the overall feeling for June. I feel like there's a lot of big changes in June, Scorpio. And I feel like there's some endings for some of you. Some endings to some things that maybe were unpleasant. So, in the past position, we have the Six of Cups. And so I'm going to go through all these and lay them out. And then we're going to talk about it. And then we're going to clarify them. And the current situation in June, Ace of Wands, nice. Oh, that's too many. So, for the overall theme leaving June, Ten of Wands. So there's this feeling of some burdens, maybe carrying some things around for a while. Oh yeah, Ten of Swords, that's the challenge. Let's see where this goes. I have a feeling though this isn't as heavy as it looks right off the bat, but so in your foundation you have the Page of Wands. I feel there is like a need to communicate some things regarding home, family. Some of you might be going through a separation, a breakup, a divorce. Ace of Swords, communication and telling the truth. Maybe somebody needs to come clean. King of Wands, that is in your advice. What's in your external environment influencing things? Eight of Coins, nice, I like that. And what's in your shadow side of you? And then we have the Two of Wands. What is it you need to know? Maybe you're not seeing clearly. Maybe what is it you're afraid of? And then the outcome. Nine of Cups, the Wish card. So like I said, this to me is like in the Hermit on the bottom. Let's give this a throw that down. So I have a feeling that this isn't nearly as heavy as it looks. I think it may have, I think this is carryover from May into June. So I think you have some things carrying over related to family, or some type of parting of ways. And I don't know if there's this hope of maybe fixing things, rekindling things, or getting a new start with family. And then the Nine of Cups here, to me, that is, it's often called the wish card. I really feel like there's a need here in this reading in June, Scorpio, to have some communication about things that maybe otherwise haven't been discussed or said. So the Six of Cups is probably, depending on when you're watching this, so this is in May, middle of May, that I'm doing this for June. So there's this this feeling of parting of ways, or maybe talking about parting ways with family, or this could be work related, but I feel like this is more about a marriage or a partnership. Maybe it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be married, and there's some discussing some things that you know, are difficult to talk about. And I think there's things that instead of talking about them, I feel like they're piling up, and it's becoming like an accumulated resentment. And these accumulated resentments are causing this tension and this strife and this quarreling. And there needs to be an airing of grievances and setting things right to find a new path. And I think that that's ultimately what you want here, is that new path. That new path is not necessarily without the person you're with, but this new path is a redirect or a new direction in your relationship. So Two of Wands is really wanting to move forward, but having to, you know, this is proceeding with caution, looking at things and looking at what it is you want or what could be, but going forward with caution, exercising caution, and not protecting yourself and guarding yourself a little bit. But you do want to remain with this person in your life. You want to move forward, but you are probably worried about doing that, like giving another chance. How many times do you have to continue to give somebody a chance because they keep hurting you over and over? And so these accumulated resentments and burdens and feelings have stacked up and piled up on you, and it's to the point where you probably have had enough. And in June, this really needs to be discussed. You need to have a heart-to-heart. So whatever is going on, that needs to be discussed. The Page of Wands, it feels kind of heavy. The Page of Wands is, you know, like getting back to the way things used to be, wanting to get back to the way things used to be. And I think that you have to have that communication, and in that communication with this person, some things have to be said that aren't easy to say. This is somebody that I feel like you love very much, but in order to overcome the situation, the Ace of Swords, you have to do this in a tactful but loving and caring way, without compromising what it is that is like eating you up in this. The King of Wands here is in the advice, and again, the King of Wands is not resting on his laurels. The King of Wands is not sitting there pondering things. The King of Wands is somebody who's very determined, smart, and is going to eventually take action. And when that happens, if it's out of frustration, it might come off as very harsh. And I don't think that that's what you want to do. I think what you want to do in this is to do this in a in a way that is caring but tactful, and you have to speak your mind, you have to speak the truth. Now, in your external environment, you have the Eight of Coins, and quite often this could be about working toward, working toward a goal, working toward something usually related to work or, schooling or an apprenticeship or something that is material in nature. But I think this represents the need and the desire to work on this situation, because there are material things tied up in this, and there are a lot of things at stake. And so I think that you definitely are very much being influenced by everything that is tied up and involved in this relationship. Now, the Two of Wands, we'll talk about that again. This is wanting that new path and that new direction with this person, and your person probably wants that new direction and new path too, but I feel like they have some growing up to do. To me, there's this like immaturity. You have the Six of Cups, and that kind of speaks to me as being a little bit immature. There's some growing up to do. And then the Nine of Cups is ultimately what you want out of this, and that is ultimately what on the current trajectory, if things are dealt with properly, you have the Nine of Cups, and you have that you end up ultimately feeling satisfied that things are genuinely going in a better direction and changing. So let's clarify some of these, Scorpio, and see what is happening. We have the Hermit on the bottom of the deck, and so this is something that's been on your mind for a long time. I think you put up with too much for too long, and it's time to do something about it. So we have the Six of Cups in the recent past, and we have the Nine of Cups. Interesting. So the Nine of Cups here is repeating itself. So that's really, it's kind of throws me off a little bit, because I feel like I did say earlier, it was like things were at one point good, and you want to get back to that. So I don't mean it's throwing me off. It's not what I expected to come out in this. But anytime there are cards that are repeating, I always say pay attention to those cards, because there's more emphasis and more message in that. And this card wants to come out, so we're going to take that. We have the Chariot. So things probably may have been heading in this direction for a long time, and a lot of times the Chariot is about being empowered with what you're doing. But to me, I almost feel like it needs to be read in reverse. I don't normally just read reversals. I always turn my cards up, and if I feel like intuitively they need to be read in reverse, that's what I do. So that's kind of where I'm going with this, is things kind of were not balanced, and I feel like the person you were dealing with was pushing things in a direction that was really just unhealthy. There might have been some addictions or some mismanagement of resources or whatever, but it has caused a lot of frustration and hardship in this relationship. And so I feel like that Chariot card really does need to be looked at as if it's in the reverse position. So, things are stagnant, they're not changing. There could be some issues with mismanagement of assets, money, bank accounts. There could have been some addictions or some things that just were causing a lot of problems. I don't know that I really need to clarify a whole lot of these cards, because this all comes off very clearly to me. But I do want to look at this Ace of Wands, because this is where June, really the heart of the month, lies in this situation. And we have the Six of Wands. So this is saying, and also the Five of Swords. So this is saying to me that taking action is really ensuring that you have a plan that's succeeding, a plan that goes forward, and it does affect change, and it causes change if you take action, and you probably get the desired outcome that you want out of this. And then the Six or Five of Swords, I almost look at like this as like you have two choices, two options in this. Do nothing and you get the Five of Swords. Do what needs to be done here. Speak your mind. Point the things out that need to be heard. Speak your mind. Speak the truth, and you'll get the Six of Wands. So intuitively, I feel like this is kind of like two paths, two choices, two different outcomes. But with that said, the Ten of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles. So you might feel like you're doing both roles in the home. And it doesn't matter whether you're the masculine or the feminine. None of that has any bearing. But I feel like you might be taking on the bulk of everything in your home and environment and work. And so this creates a lot of burden. You have to be the mother and the father, not only to, if you have children, but also to your partner. And that's really what that feels like to me. And that's the message I get out of this. And then Eight of Swords is with the Ten of Swords. So feeling trapped. This has caused a lot of heartache, a lot of pain, a feeling of betrayal. So some stuff that happened, it was done in the dark, and you didn't really see that. And now some things are coming to light. And in that is dealing with some of that pain and not seeing a way out if things stay the way they are, and things won't get any better in that. So I think you have an idea of what you need to do in June to like steer the course of this and change direction. And we're going to clarify one more, the Nine of Cups and the outcome, because I want to know more about that and see where that takes us. All right, let's see. Seven of Wands. So this is the wounded warrior. Okay, the Seven of Wands. Yeah, there's a lot of work to get to that point. And it's worth it, because this is like the wounded warrior. This is being battle weary, but this is like taking on the situation and being able to get your point across and get this person to see your way and taking it head on and coming out on top and pushing through it and being victorious in this situation. And I think to get to that Nine of Cups, to start to see things to turn around to where they used to be, you have to stand your ground. And so that's where I think you're at, Scorpio in June, is trying to clean up a bit of a messy relationship. And I think all signs point to that it's entirely possible to get to that point. Now, like I said, this doesn't resonate for everybody. This doesn't fit with everybody. It possibly cannot. It's impossible. But you'll know if it's for you. And if it was, leave me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Subscribe if you want to hear more. I'm going to pull one or two of these and end it with that. Milk and honey. So you came from the Nine of Cups, and you're returning to the Nine of Cups, and in that is that renewed feeling of peace and blessing, abundance and prosperity and contentment, everlasting joy. Every relationship has its rough patches, and I think this is saying that keep working at it, because you do get to the point where it's like being restored. And then we're going to pull one more for Scorpio, June 2020. One more message. What can we talk about here. The Observer. So you might be getting advice from somebody, or some people around you might see this and be telling you intuitively, I feel like telling you just to get the hell out of there. This is no good. This is just going to be a disaster. It's going to fall apart. And I think maybe people are seeing things from a point of view that is really not entirely objective. It's more subjective. And so, you know, I mean, it's always good to take people's advice to heart, but it doesn't mean you have to act on it. I think that you are looking at this from a different point of view because you have so much more invested in this. This is your life, and you want very much, you know, for the best outcome in this, and you're not ready to walk away. So, with that said, Scorpio, this is where things are at in June. And if it resonates, if it fits with you, be sure to leave me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to hear more. With that, I'm going to say stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you again.